Now, people in Scotland have been allowed to meet friends and family in small groups outdoors for the first time since lockdown measures were introduced in late March. It comes as Wales's First Minister announced plans for relaxing restrictions there, with Boris Johnson saying yesterday that some measures in England would be eased from Monday. In a moment, we'll hear from our correspondent in Cardiff, Hywel Griffith, and Duncan Kennedy is in the New Forest. But first, Sarah Smith reports from Scotland.
The first eager steps out of hard lockdown as 6-week-old Penny meets her wider family for the first time.
You look a wee bit different in real life.
It's unnatural, carefully keeping 2 metres apart.
You just want to reach across and give her like a wee hug for you guys.
In Scotland, 2 different households can meet, with a limit of 8 people at a time. They're not to share food, cutlery or crockery, and not to go indoors.
You're desperate to show them off to people, particularly your family. It has been tough.
Now, I don't want to get too personal, but did you go to the loo before you came?
I did. It was the last thing I said before we stepped out.
Only if people stick to the rules will this new freedom persist.
If people don't abide by it, we're going to go backwards, which would be heartbreaking for us, do you know, so.
The right to sunbathe, barbecue and picnic has been delivered on the hottest day of the year. The police don't have new legal powers to enforce the new rules. It all relies on public cooperation. It's scenes like this that led Nicola Sturgeon to say she is a bit nervous about relaxing the rules in Scotland. Things shouldn't feel as though we are completely back to normal, she says, because we are not back to normal.
If you are in doubt about whether your plans are within the rules or not, err for now on the side of caution. Because however harsh these rules might feel right now, and I know that they do, abiding by them will never, ever be as harsh as grieving the loss of a loved one.
People in Scotland can finally play some sports as long as they're outdoors, whilst we wait 3 weeks before the government reviews whether they can relax the rules even further. Sarah Smith, BBC News, Glasgow.
Too fast or too slow, the journey out of lockdown can feel exhausting. From Monday, Louise and her family will be able to meet relatives here in Pontypridd with no limit on the head count. But they can't travel more than 5 miles, so family in the Midlands will have to wait.
I think they're making changes according to people's behaviour. As we can see, people are getting lockdown fatigue, and I think people are breaking the rules and being maybe irresponsible. So I think it kind of makes sense in a way to be pragmatic.
The changes in Wales are meant to depend on data rather than a set of dates. The number of new coronavirus cases has gone down, but the rate at which the virus is spreading hasn't.
Staying local and not sharing facilities with other people, we think remain sensible precautionary steps when the R rate in Wales is no better today than it was 3 weeks ago.
Shops have been told they may be able to reopen in 3 weeks, but some feel left in the dark.
Please stay local.
Sian has several businesses here. She's anxious for Pontypridd to recover after flooding earlier this year, but she's frustrated.
I think the longer we are dragging our feet and we're not giving any kind of clarity, I think it's going to harm. It's going to harm businesses. It's going to harm people's mental health. We are behind and it is causing issues.
The Welsh approach is unapologetically cautious. No plans have been announced for schools, as change comes one step at a time. Hywel Griffith, BBC News, Pontypridd.
Across England, from the beaches of Brighton to the scenery of Surrey, it's already starting to look crowded in some places ahead of Monday's changes. In the New Forest, most but not all families welcome the adjustment that allows groups of up to 6 people to meet.
I don't think it would do any harm, as long as everyone's sensible. Yeah, so I think, yes, meet up, be sensible though, keep your distance, and I can't see it being a problem.
It's dangerous. We've got to keep on how we are doing now, social distancing and keep everything closed.
New police figures in England show fines for breaching lockdown laws fell below 900 in the past 2 weeks. But guardians of popular places like this still have concerns about what's coming. Right across England, the rules do change from Monday about social distancing. What's your message to the public?
The rules may change on Monday, but our message remains the same, that you need to plan your visit and you need to maintain that social distancing mentioned in the regulations. You can't suddenly turn up with 20 members of your family to have a party.
From Monday, any meetings may only be outside and must keep to the 2-metre rule. This is evolution, not liberation from lockdown. Duncan Kennedy, BBC News.
So what do the changes to lockdown measures mean? How could they affect all of our lives? Our health correspondent Catherine Burns has been looking at some of the key issues.
How many people can I meet up with? All this depends on where you live. Northern Ireland is already letting groups of up to 6 meet outdoors. From today, it'll be up to 8 in parks and gardens in Scotland. The changes kick in elsewhere on Monday. So in England, it'll be up to 6 people outside. Wales doesn't have a number limit, but says only 2 households can meet at the same time. All 4 nations, though, make the same very important point. Social distancing is still vital. All this contact must be 2 metres away. Can they use my loo? In England, the advice is if you've got to go, then you can go, but that it's absolutely critical that you clean and wipe everything down after you. Elsewhere, the advice is to avoid the loos in other people's homes. The same goes for food and drink. In England, you can have a barbecue as long as everyone washes their hands, but it's strictly bring your own in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. Can I travel to visit friends or family? This is another mixed picture. In England and Northern Ireland, you can travel as far as you'd like to see family and friends. The Scottish and Welsh governments, though, would prefer that you stay local. They suggest about 5 miles as a rule of thumb. Has anything changed if I'm shielding? This is the same answer no matter where you live. If you've been told that you need to shield, so stay at home because you're at more risk of getting very sick with coronavirus, nothing has changed. You still need to stay there until you're told otherwise. This story is changing quickly and new questions are coming in all the time. You can find more information on the BBC News website and the coronavirus tab.